Andrew Carnegie's steel empire was worth $370 billion today. John D. Rockefeller's oil monopoly, $400 billion. Together, they were richer than the U.S. government, stronger than presidents. But these two men weren't allies. They despised each other. Carnegie called Rockefeller cold-blooded. Rockefeller mocked Carnegie as a penny-pinching immigrant. Behind closed doors, they waged a shadow war that left workers dead, cities crushed, and America forever changed. In this video, you'll see how two boys from nothing rose to unimaginable wealth, the ruthless strategies they used to dominate, and how their hatred reshaped the entire nation. Stay with me, because this isn't just history. It's the blueprint every billionaire still follows today. Andrew Carnegie, a Scottish immigrant kid, working 12-hour days in a cotton mill for $1.20 a week. He swore he'd never be poor again. John D. Rockefeller, the son of a con man and a devout mother raised on sermons and scams. By 16, he tracked every penny and ledger so precise they looked like scripture. Carnegie chased wealth to escape poverty. Rockefeller chased power to control chaos. Two boys from nothing, two obsessions on a collision course. Carnegie bet on steel. Armed with the Bessemer furnace, he rolled out cheap steel by the ton. Bridges, railroads, skyscrapers, America's skeleton. But his workers were expendable. 12-hour shifts, 7 days a week, one holiday a year. Death was routine. Rockefeller bet on oil. Instead of drilling, he refined. Instead of competing, he conspired. By 1880, Standard Oil controlled 90% of U.S. oil. He didn't just win, he rewrote the rules. Secret railroad rebates let him pay 25 cents a barrel while rivals paid $1. Carnegie built higher. Rockefeller dug deeper. Both crushed everything in their path. In 1892, Carnegie's hypocrisy exploded. Publicly, he praised unions. Privately, he unleashed Henry Clay Frick to destroy them. When 3,800 steel workers at Homestead demanded fair wages, Carnegie slipped away to a Scottish castle, letting Frick handle it. Frick locked the men out. Then he hired 300 Pinkerton mercenaries armed with rifles to storm the mill. At dawn, barges floated down the Monongahela River. Strikers armed themselves with clubs, pistols, even dynamite. Then, gunfire. 12 brutal hours of chaos. The river ran red. 9 workers slaughtered. Dozens maimed. The workers forced the Pinkertons to surrender, but the governor sent 8,000 state militia to crush the strike. The Union was dead for 45 years. And Carnegie? From Scotland, he wrote Frick, "We are with you to the end." Blood bought Carnegie's fortune. While Carnegie's war was in the streets, Rockefeller's battle reached the Supreme Court. By 1906, Standard Oil was so vast, it dwarfed the U.S. federal budget. President Teddy Roosevelt called Rockefeller's monopoly the enemy of liberty. The government accused him of secret rebates, intimidation, and unreasonable restraint of trade. For 5 years, the trial became a national spectacle. Competitors testified about spies inside their refineries, about price wars, so brutal families were ruined overnight. Cartoons showed Rockefeller as an octopus, tentacles wrapped around Congress, judges, even the White House. And yet Rockefeller himself dodged the courtroom. He vanished into his estates, avoided subpoenas, feigned illness. One senator raged, "Is this man greater than the government itself?" In 1911, the Supreme Court finally ruled Standard Oil guilty. The empire was broken into 34 companies. Headlines screamed, "The Great Trust is dissolved." But Rockefeller laughed last. He owned shares in all 34. His fortune doubled to $400 billion today. The government broke his empire and made him richer. If this already feels shocking, you haven't seen anything yet. Hit subscribe right now, because the deeper this war goes, the darker it gets. Rockefeller and Carnegie never met face to face, but their hatred was personal. Carnegie called Rockefeller cold-blooded. Rockefeller mocked Carnegie with a cheap paper vest, a reminder of his poor immigrant roots. Carnegie retaliated with a bottle of whiskey, knowing Rockefeller's Baptist faith wouldn't let him drink or even gift it away. But beneath the jokes was venom. Carnegie blamed Rockefeller for the death of his old mentor, Tom Scott, ruined by Rockefeller's railroad deals. Rockefeller dismissed Carnegie as a noisy showman, a man who built libraries to cover for blood on his hands. This wasn't rivalry, it was war. In 1901, Andrew Carnegie pulled off the biggest deal in American history. J.P. Morgan wrote him a check for $480 million, the equivalent of $17 billion today. Carnegie had built his empire from a one-room Scottish cottage to a steel machine, bigger than nations. And in one stroke of a pen, he became the richest man alive. To put it in perspective, at the time, the entire U.S. federal budget was just $700 million. Carnegie could have funded the whole government for nearly a year, out of his own pocket. Rockefeller's turn came a decade later. In 1911, the Supreme Court shattered Standard Oil into 34 companies. On paper, it was a defeat. In reality, it was the greatest wealth explosion the world had ever seen. The pieces, Exxon, Chevron, Mobil, skyrocketed in value. Overnight, Rockefeller's fortune doubled to more than $400 billion in today's money. That's more than Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos combined at their peaks. So while presidents claimed victory, the billionaires laughed. One cashed out to Wall Street, the other cashed in on the government's attempt to humble him. Two exits. Two fortunes so vast they make today's tech titans look like amateurs. Carnegie spent his final years giving away $350 million. 2,500 libraries, Carnegie Hall, universities. He said, "The man who dies rich, dies disgraced." Rockefeller gave away $500 million, funding universities, curing diseases, handing out nickels to children even as he hoarded billions. Saints, killers, builders, tyrants, they were all of it at once. But their war left scars. Dead workers, broken unions, monopolies that strangled democracy. They wrote the playbook for power, and today's billionaires, Musk, Bezos, Zuckerberg, are still following it. So, who was worse? Rockefeller, the oil godfather who bent the government to his will, or Carnegie, the steel tyrant whose workers paid in blood? Drop your verdict in the comments. And if you want to see how J.P. Morgan crushed them both, outplaying Carnegie and Rockefeller in one stroke, hit subscribe. That's the next chapter in this ruthless saga.